Japanese getting the first break goal there. On the sand here in Royan. Beautiful morning. We had fog here.
Goals and 13 assists in their first 5 games. Number 98, Nicholas Commons, who is a youth teammate of Yanitslo with 15 goals, tied for second most in the 23-team men's division. Denmark ties it up as Commons with his 16th goal of the short week so far.
Yeah, Commons loves the stat sheet there. Staying the ship after a shaky first point from Denmark. Nice offense there. Didn't give too much trouble from the Japanese. And Denmark, a mixture of players from KFK and Ragnarok. We see just, I think, 3 Ragnarok players, Eskjar, Larsen and Magnusson, although they're 10 times in a row Danish champions, Ragnarok.
And they are the prime franchise in Denmark. Most of this team from Copenhagen. These guys traveled here, a couple-hour flight to Paris, and then drove down. It is the same time zone in Denmark here in France, so we welcome those watching the game back in Denmark in the late morning, along with those in the Far East in Japan in the evening. Late Tuesday morning here in Royan, day 3 of WCBU 2017. Tomoyo Miyachi, just 20 years of age. Takahiro Kusei, one of the 3 Japanese Masters players on this team, shooting it deep, and Kondo is there. absorbs the contact from Bjarne Laursen. And this Japanese team with a defensive break and then a solid offensive hold. It's 2-1 here early.
And that's a classic Japanese hook there, putting a lot of edge on the disc, curving it away from the receiver. Not allowing the Danish player, who has the height advantage, to get a bit on that one. That was Kuze, the Masters player, showing the experience and wisdom to put that one away from Laursen, who was chasing it down.
Japan began the tournament with a 13-4 loss to Canada and fell to the Netherlands by 7. Lost to Switzerland 13-7, and then a tight game against Ukraine, their closest yet, but a 12-9 loss. It has not escaped their attention, Liam, that they have gotten closer in every game. And certainly beginning a new day, late morning, got to sleep in. Certainly fresh hope. Deep shot, Commons, got it.
Some classic Danish offense there. 1 or 2 passages to set up the hook, and they'll be using their height advantage as best they can all game long.
What are the main tenets of Danish Ultimate from your experience in Europe?
Yeah, I've got to play with even some of the men on this roster. They like to play big, generally, especially Ragnarok. Through the ages, always known as a hooking team. The Danes, one of the tallest nations going, and that's reflected in their national team. And very difficult to stop. Really spirited nation as well, Denmark. And we see now a lot of the KFK players trying to take down this Ragnarok team. I've been told that this is going to be their year to finally end the run of Ragnarok, who are getting a bit older, but still have some fantastic players.
Japan held on its first offensive point. Up a break at 2-2. Game to 13, halftime at 7. Good dump defense there by Frederic Sko. Finally, they get it back to Daishi Tamba. Was on the Japanese team 2 years ago in Dubai. It's been a tough week so far for the entire Japanese delegation. Only 1 win in the tournament in the Grand Masters division. A lot of young talent they're trying to build up. Now, this Denmark team 2 years ago finished 5th in the world. They lost to Canada in the quarters, but then beat Germany, beat Australia. Pretty good result for Team Denmark. Disappointing start to this week, but expectations are still to be in that top 8 when it's all said and done. And you look at their schedule, yes, they've got a game against Japan, against USA coming up after this, but then Poland, Spain, and Singapore. Not necessarily gimmies, but 3 winnable games for Denmark to make a run at the top 8 bracket. Top 4 in each of the pools make it into the quarters in the men's division. Kondo over to Kusei. And into the end zone, jamming it up the line, Miyachi with his 9th goal of the tournament for Japan.
Yeah, looking to isolate the 20-year-old there in the front of the end zone as a goal-scoring machine, playing for a Technicolor. Yeah, a lot of Japanese teams taking their time to adjust this, and I don't think it's the most popular surface to play on in Japan, so I think that takes a while to get your feet. While we see some of the European teams doing well at the start, as maybe you see Spain doing well in all divisions, as they're well used to the sand. I think Japan will improve as the week goes on. And Denmark's success in Dubai goes a lot to their experience. You see Thor Muller, a legend in European Ultimate, coming out of the team Sexpensive, which is an all-star team back in the day, and now kind of an all-star legends team.
Moeller now 37 years old. He's been playing Ultimate for more than 2 decades. Captaining this Danish squad here in France. Only turnover of the game was from Denmark on the opening point. And a pick downfield will readjust the location of the disc. Andreas Eiskor.
Yeah, I don't expect many turns in this game. The way Denmark play and use their height and athleticism is going to keep the disc away from Japan and see them air one out there, while the Japanese are going to keep it low and fast, and the big gangly Danes may not be able to shut them down. So a tale of two O-lines here.
Magnuson forced to fire it up, and it's caught in the end zone by Yametslo.
The Danes love a bit of tall ball there and just puts one up. There was no cut. They're just using the space vertically rather than horizontally, and to success.
I think that is an example of why the Japanese team has struggled on the beach. Certainly known more for their speed and for their precision than they are for their height. And there's not much you can do to guard that if Yametslo has the position.
Yeah, tower of a man. Did well there as well to read that one, caught the wind, but that's what Denmark do, and they're doing it well.
A look at Thor Moller, the legend in Danish Ultimate, and the goal scorer Yametslo in the 13 shirt. Played soccer, played handball. It'd be more accurate to play football and handball. That's what he said. I know I've got my Americanisms, Liam, but I'm trying to become a more multicultural guy.
Yeah, it's interesting to see within the different nations what sports players might have played before. In Ireland, we have a lot of Gaelic football players. As you said, you have the handball players. In Australia, you get a lot of the playing the Aussie rules football or rugby league, and how those skills transfer over to Ultimate.
Have you played any Gaelic football?
Yes, yeah, I was raised playing Gaelic football, not allowed to play another sport till I was about 18 or 19. Even soccer or basketball not allowed in school. Still the two most popular sports in Ireland, Gaelic football and hurling. And Gaelic football really does transfer well to Frisbee. You do a lot of person defense, catching, and, well, punching the ball.
Sure.
But skills transfer over well. And we see a lot of the best Irish players actually being Gaelic footballers or hurlers.
Japan turns it over for the first time. Denmark looking over the top, and too much. You know, the wind is a crosswind. It's coming from the far side of the field to the near side of the field, and perhaps a little bit too much width on that hammer, a result of that breeze. Of course, yesterday was as calm as a Beach Worlds has ever been, late in the afternoon, early in the evening. Made for some pretty ultimate.
Yeah, generally on the sand, you're going to have some kind of sea breeze. That's just the way the air currents work.
Looking deep, Miyachi versus Fink. And the third turnover of the point. Miyachi had a couple of steps initially, but Fink caught up and used his size.
And that's what the Danes are trying to do there, bait that deep throw. They may not get them all, but that's how they're going to get the turnovers off this Japanese team. Between the handlers, it's going to be very difficult for them, but anytime they air one out, there's going to be a great Dane under that one.
We're playing with the Discraft Ultra Star, 175 grams, but we're playing with the fluorescent disc this time around. And Denmark has a break to get back on serve here in the first half. Ashburn, Fink, bookends to make it 4-3.
Yeah, we see him do a little bookends gesture there. Well-deserved goal. And they get their break back, I think, so that puts them back on serve.
Do you like the colored disc on the beach?
I was talking to the Discraft president there earlier on in the week and asked him what he thought. And he was saying that actually any color disc, even just a slight tint of yellow, allows it to absorb more heat and can actually affect the flight of the disc. And I trust his opinion more than anyone's. So he's a bit of a truist, like many of the older folk, like the white disc, and generally don't want to look or see anything else, but not affecting the game so far. And it does help with the live stream to be able to see it against that beautiful French white sand.
I did chat with one of the American handlers who said something interesting that was basically, this is the first time that the color disc hasn't bothered me, he said. The Japanese speed almost got there, but Yusuke Wakai shaken up on the landing.
Looks like there's a call on the field. Oh, I think it might be an injury. Wakai on the ground, one of the players who played in Dubai 2 years ago when the Japanese team finished 10th.
And his right arm, right shoulder just gets caught up underneath him.
And that number 10 Japanese jersey made famous by Matsuno, so used to seeing it there. And unfortunately, the Japanese player strolling off the field injured. I hope he's fit to continue this game later on, or if not, the tournament.
Well, the Japanese have never been known as juggernauts of the beach, but in the ultimate world, obviously the men's team in London went to the finals last year, gave USA arguably the game of the tournament. Still one of my favorite games I've ever had the privilege to call. And obviously the big news in Japanese ultimate, the suspension 6 months of the Buzz Bullets by their company Bunka Shutter, really lasting ripples in the Japanese community, in the international worldwide ultimate community. A 6-month suspension. They will not defend their 19-year Japanese national title. 19 consecutive years they've won it all. Now the door is open for Nomadic Tribe or the Osaka Spirits or another team.
Yeah, it might be a blessing in disguise for Japanese ultimate.
It really could be, because there hasn't been a great national competition. The journey has been to play for the Bullets, not to try to knock them off. We'll see over the next few years. We'll certainly miss having the Buzz Bullets at events like the World Games in Poland, at the US Open in Minnesota in August.
That's a timeout call by Japan as they got the turn moments ago. And a big point for Japan.
No question about it. They're trying to keep it on serve. After they got the early break, it was 1-0 Japan. Denmark just broke back after we had 5 straight points without a turnover. And these are two teams that are both looking at this game as a chance for a win. Japan 0-4 in their first 2 days of competition. They've got 3 games today and 3 more tomorrow. This Denmark team 1-4, but the 4 losses: 9-7 to Russia, 12-11 to Canada, 10-8 to Ukraine, and 13-12 to the Netherlands. It can go one of 2 ways, Liam. They can realize how close they are and keep pushing and keep giving more, or they could be demoralized by those close losses and the entire tournament could crumble. You've seen it go both ways in the past.
Yeah, I'm hoping some of the older players in the Danish team can make sure they keep their heads and learn from those losses and grow on them. I think important to remember, I think the Danish losing to Japan in Dubai 2 years ago, although finishing much higher in the rankings, lost on universe point to Japan. So again, this could be a tough test for them, with the Japanese with a chance to take another break and tie up this game.
Only 1 timeout per game, so Japan just used theirs. Masaki Yamada initiates play. Yusuke Hirano. The veteran Satoru Ishii, an assistant coach in the AUDL for the Los Angeles Aviators, and a veteran in Japan. He'll be 41 this winter. We were joking with Sat before the game. He could be a grandmaster, and yet he's trying to mentor these young guys. And you may notice on his jersey and on many of the other Japanese jerseys, there's a black ribbon as Denmark shoots it long. Yamets low.
Yeah, the
acrobatic bib, but he couldn't get there. The black ribbon in honor of Hiroyuki Endo, a proud member of the Japanese community who passed away unexpectedly about 10 days ago.
Yeah, tragic story. The man just 46 and one of the legends of Japanese Ultimate, has done so much for the community, and ex-director of the Japanese Federation, also part of Club Junior, and all the Japanese teams here in Royan wearing a black ribbon in commemoration, and that's a really nice gesture.
Certainly in everyone's thoughts, especially in the Japanese community. Japan trying to punch this one in. The longest point of the first half ends with Ishii connecting with Kusei. Two Masters teammates in London a year ago make it 4-all. Nearly 20 minutes gone as we move toward the 45-minute cap.
Yeah, I got to play with Satoru Ishii in Hawaii at Kaimana Classic, I think 3 years ago, and I can tell you what, running beside him, he didn't feel like he was a Masters player or a Grand Masters player. Playing with a bag of wine in Oahu, wine in France. Doesn't matter what vessel it comes in, all wine good here. Yeah, I think it's really cool, the Frisbee culture in Hawaii, somewhat frozen in time to maybe the 70s or 80s, still rocking the tie-dye shirts and still all about the fun, and not too much of a competitive scene, but a great scene.
How did Bag of Wine finish?
They finished the wine very well anyway. I don't know about how they did in the Hawaiian Championships.
Sounds like you had fun.
From what I can remember anyway, Evan.
A stoppage with the disc in the possession of Magnus Magnuson, who's the youngest member of this Danish team, just 20 years of age. 4 goals, 8 assists for Magnuson. He's been very involved in the Denmark offense. Another pick downfield, slows it up.
Bit of a slow game so far, but that's just how clinical both teams have been. Not too much opportunity for big plays as they play it safe and crisp, clean passes from both teams.
Soren Raven with the disc. We've seen pretty good spacing from this Denmark offense. Throw a little bit behind the target, but Borison keeps it alive. Melby over to Commons, and a little high release backhand for the score. Commons to Magnuson. We're on serve in the first half, 5-4 Denmark.
Yeah, we see Greason there on the line, number 2 for Denmark, actually coming in at the ripe age of 42. I think takes the hat for oldest man on the field, beating Ishii by 2. So
narrowly edging him out.
Yeah. And it's great to see on Beach Ultimate in particular, a variety of ages. It's not all about speed and youthfulness on the sand. Smart brain and clever throws, just as important.
This is the first game of many that you will see here on the show pitch today. Coming up at 1:40 in the afternoon, which is a little under 2 hours from now. You'll have Mexico and Guam in the mixed division. And you were saying you watched Guam earlier today and were impressed.
Yeah, Guam were a really exciting team to watch. A mixture of...
Not a great reputation for Ultimate in Guam, but who knows? Maybe they'll be the surprise of the tournament.
Yeah, I thought they put up a good battle to Dominican Republic. Both two really exciting, spirited teams. Lots of dancing, lots of energy, and it was a pity we weren't able to stream that one, but maybe we'll get Dominican Republic later on in the tournament as well.
There are a lot of great games going on. Watch the USA women come from behind to beat the Australian women in the previous round. There's a very near D. Thomas Vestergaard just shy. Chasing Takahiro Kusei. Sneaking it up the line, and it finds its target, Miyachi. Nakamura, and into the end zone, Hirano. They can strike fast, we know that.
Yeah, and Fink again came close to that one, almost the second D of the game. The man likes to get big and horizontal, and Miyachi just about squeaking that one past him.
This was the throw to just sneak it up the line. And then a quick couple throws later, the Japanese punch it in. So it's 5-all.
Yeah, once Fink had left his man there, he opened up the field for the Japanese to break quickly, and that's what they do best.
Tamba from Nakamura. Also later today, USA-Canada Women's Ultimate. That is at 2:50 p.m. here in France, 14:50. Looking forward to that one. We'll have Ireland, France, and then a couple mixed games, Russia, Portugal, and Netherlands and the Dominican Republic. And perhaps before the sun goes down tonight, you will hear the dulcet accents of one Tom Stiles, who is in transit to the beaches as we speak.
Yes, Tom, maybe
Denmark.
fit for being a cricket commentator. The soft, oozing voice of the Englishman, well known in the ultimate community. And Japanese coming out of zone there.
Trying to slow down the Denmark team, and it didn't really work.
No, the Danish doing very well to use the whole width of the field, stretching the Japanese players out. A very passive zone, and the Danish taking on what was on offer.
Magnuson very involved here in this first half. 6-5 Denmark, and it's a game to 13, but the soft cap would go on at 45 minutes, or the cap I should say. Once 45 minutes elapse, add one to the higher score, and that is the destination. At this point, the pace would really need to quicken for us to reach 13. We are on serve, first half. Third day of competition as that disc bounces out the back of the end zone. Shun Kondo will march it up to the front line. A couple Americans on this Japanese team, Eric Bradford Hora and James Parker. Parker played college nationals with Kansas and then later coached Arizona State. It's a nice throw from Miyachi. Will it float enough? No, just out of the reach of Eisho Yamada.
When I saw that disc come catapulting out of his hands, I thought it was perfect. Looked like it was going to sit up for the receiver, but as the play continued, you saw Yamada maybe growing tired or just not able to get the right read on that one. Be disappointed in himself.
As a thrower, you have to remember your cutters can't move quite so fast on the sand. Smiles on the faces of both parties in this dispute. And it's Ashbourne Fink that will keep the disc. That blade into the crosswind, and now back across the field. Great job towing the line. That's Fink again, and Denmark with a break to lead 7-5.
That great interlocking offense from the Danes. Well constructed like Lego. They know how to manufacture a good O-point.
That was very close. Not much of a discussion from Tomoyo Miyachi. And Denmark up 7-5 to take half here in this men's division game in France. So Denmark scored in the end zone to our right. They will pull from the end zone to our left. There's no halftime break, except they will switch sides. And Denmark, who was broken on the first point of the game, will give it to the Japanese to receive.
What are your thoughts, Evan, on these 45-minute games, no half? Such a vast contrast to what we saw in London last year.
Yeah, I like the quick pace for sure. It's nice to go right into the second half. I think people want to hear less from us and just watch more Ultimate. I think that, you know, these games are incredible grinds for the players. You know, 5-on-5, deep shot goes up. Miyachi just shy of the goal line. And he sneaks it through. The Danes miscommunicating there defensively near the goal line, and Miyachi to Kusei, number 1 to number 2.
Yeah, crumbling like a well-cooked Danish pastry there. Unable to chase down the hook, and then parked outside the end zone. The Danish player just watched and observed that young Japanese man boost right by him.
That was a critical goal for the Japanese to get back within 1. You know, in these short games, if you come out slow, it can be really tough to get back in it. You know, at the same time, sometimes points can come in 5-10 seconds. Sometimes points can last 5-10 minutes. And when you get those long points, you see which team is really hungrier to compete. And that is often what decides the games on this surface, especially in really adverse conditions. Ishii trying to deny that dump, and it leads to a turnover. Japan takes over on the goal line. They used their timeout earlier. They don't have one left, and there's uncontested foul on the mark. Pretty good size mismatch there between Hirano and Raven. The reset, Parker. Wakai, Ishii. That reset deflected.
That was a matrix D there. Had no vision of the disc. Just put his hands out when he saw the Japanese player gesture.
Kasper Borison showed the value of keeping the hands up and active. Huge turning point. Missed opportunity for Japan. They get the turn on the goal line, cannot punch it in. Give the Denmark team credit for the defense on the goal line, not giving in.
Yeah, I like that style of defense on sand. Wouldn't be a fan on the grass, but face marking works quite well on the beach. We see that amazing psychic D there from the Dane. And they eventually turned quickly, and as you said, an opportunity lost for the Japanese. They had a short field there. They won't get too many of those opportunities in this game. Yeah, that face mark works rather well on sand, as it's very hard to put it out into space for your dump. We saw that's exactly how the Danish turned, trying to put one out to space, and when you're standing still on sand, it's very hard to accelerate in any direction. It takes a step or two to actually get up any kind of a speed. So while that's quite a popular dump reset on grass, it doesn't really work on sand. You'll see some of the top beach teams do that. They always run hard up line or come back. They don't set up their dump in a static position.
It's a great point. You see the better teams creating dump sets where you commit to either that up line or the play behind the disc. Great pull from the back of their own end zone. This is Callahan country. Japan escapes trouble. Miyachi shows the speed again. And that's a score. Miyachi to Nakamura. Japan hanging around here, Liam. 8-7.
Great
11 minutes shy of the cap.
Great confidence there from the Japanese players. I don't think we've seen a Callahan yet on the show field, although we've seen many teams parking in the back of their end zone and doing what all the others have done and sending a hook. I think maybe the defensive team gets too excited about the possibility of a Callahan, starts shutting down the under and leaves the deep shot there, and the Japanese executing that one perfectly.
Team Denmark trying to get to 2-4 with a win here. Their next game against USA. We saw the USA men here on the show pitch last night against Canada, 13-7 winner. Once again, solid spacing from Denmark. Big bid. That was Yamada horizontal. Been impressed with the patience from this Danish team. And there's the opening. They punch it in to make it 9-7. The big fella, Soren Raven, with the goal.
Yeah, textbook offense from the Danes. They definitely don't want to end up in another universe point situation that's not gone their way already in this tournament. So looking to try and put this one away earlier on.
I wonder if these guys will be able to pull away from a team. I mean, that has been their bugaboo. They've been close. They've had stretches. They've made runs. And yet they sit at 1-4 with the 4 losses by a total of 6 goals.
Yeah, this Danish team has a lot of heart and mustard. I know they can dig deep to bounce back from these few losses earlier on in the tournament. I know Nicholas Cummins was actually, I think had maybe a heat stroke or some kind of heat sickness yesterday and is back in the field now. So they got a lot of courage, this team.
He's not the only one who is feeling the heat. I mean, several players had burns on their feet. It was scorching hot the past couple days here in Royan. Looked like a foul. And Japan will keep it. Every score critical here, closing in on the cap. A little over 7 minutes away. That bid. Disc saved by Kusei. Oh, very close to another D. And traveling was the call. Japan brings it back.
Good use of hand signals there from the Danish players. Great to see on the live stream. Makes it easy for those familiar with them to know what's going on.
No observers, no game advisors. Seen pretty much entirely spirited ultimate so far across the fields. That spirit is more so put to the test in bracket play, elimination play, when everything gets a little tighter. Japan back within 1 though. Not the intended target, but Takahiro Kusei has played ultimate for a very long time.
When you play at this level, you almost expect someone to be backing you up. Any MAC disc is going to be caught with 10 fantastic ultimate players on the field.
Evan Lepler, Liam Grant with you from Royan. WCBU 2017, the 5th Beach World Championships. USA gold medalist in the men's division last time around 2 years ago in Dubai. Denmark again finished in the 5th spot. Looking for Cummins. He's got it. Not much Japan can do about that.
Barely needed to leave the sand there, just well read by the Danish players, and the Japanese saw that one going up and just had to watch it soar into the hands of the Great Dane.
Third goal of the game for Cummins, his 18th in the tournament. With how much this team relies on him, he'll certainly be in the mix for top goal scorers in the field by the end of the week. One more break here would probably ice the game from a time standpoint. So a must-score situation for Kusei, Tamba, and the rest of the Japanese O-line. Nakamura, Miyachi out there as well. Ooh, that disc just barely kept alive. Tough defense. Wakai. Kusei ahead for Miyachi. Miyachi has played this game with a smile on his face, and he has been as squirrely on the sand as anyone we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely a rising star in Japanese Ultimate. No doubt we'll be seeing him on live streams to come in the future.
Miyachi is 20, and if you told me he was 14, I'd believe you. But a turnover. The height of this Denmark team proving to be consequential down the stretch. Creating some space on the D-line, Fink. Vestergaard back to Fink. Playing catch. And Denmark will take a timeout, and this might get them to the finish line, Liam. Gaining some fresh breaths. You can kind of see the body language of Team Japan. Each and every one of them hunched over, hands on their knees. And that has been the story of the tournament. 10-8, Denmark leads. Timeout here in the second half. We're back at the beaches in Royan. Evan Lepler and Liam Grant. Denmark leading 10-8. And a timeout called after Japan turned it over. Now this is a Denmark team that, if they can play well the next couple of days, maybe they'll make a run at the bracket. They also will play a lot of what if, because there were a lot of pivotal moments their first couple of days. They had an 11-10 lead on Canada and a shot at the end zone. The Canadian Ian McKenzie got a big clutch D to help swing that game around, and Canada won at 12-11. Obviously the Universe lost to the Netherlands as well.
Yeah, been a lot of brilliant moments so far. Only day 3 of WCBU 2017, and some big upsets, some exciting moments. And Vestergaard was the Danish man who called the timeout. Got to play with him at Kopatanga a few months back, the tournament ran by Thor Muller, another man on his Danish team. Had a lot of fun. Got to play with another Danish all-star FaZe by brother of Nas, who's over in the US at the moment as well. And
where was Kopatanga held?
Kopatanga is held just outside Barcelona. I think it's Castelldefels, if I'm no doubt pronouncing that incorrectly. And a goal for Denmark.
Matthias Monk, his first goal in the tournament. And a happy moment for Team Denmark. 11-8. So I'm just sending his defender one way, taking off the other. Plenty of good spacing, room to cut. And 11-8. Largest lead of the game for either side.
That was a well-executed timeout call as well. Often not a biggest fan of timeouts, and points can often ruin your flow, but the Danish doing it really well there. Clearly tired in the last in that last point, so call the timeout, and then we see them running hard in the sand to get that goal. So that's a clever use of the timeout, and only one per team here in this Royan tournament, so you have to use it wisely, Adam.
37-year-old captain Thor Muller to pull. Denmark closing in on its second win here on the sand in France. And you look at every single matchup on the field here, Liam, and it's kind of the story of the game in a nutshell. I'd say each Dane player has a good 4 or 5 inches on their Japanese counterpart. And yet Miyachi has still made plenty of plays, gotten the disc where and when he's wanted to. Can Japan punch in one more? Making the Denmark defense really work here, and Japan punches it in. Another score for Miyachi. That's his third.
Great cut in the end zone for Miyachi. Frustrating Fink there as he bounces to the open side. A good matchup. Fink, probably the best Danish defender on the field, and has shut him down for so long. And then just a quick feet from Miyachi, finds himself free in that front corner, and that's where he's so dangerous, in that small space.
Nakamura picks up another assist. 11-9, it is game to 12. And the Denmark offense could win it right here. You see the very light breeze. And unlike yesterday, there are some clouds in the sky, which I think is a relief for everybody. Although we could probably use a few more clouds.
Yeah, I've been asking the tournament directors to ship some in from Ireland. I know we have plenty to spare to save some of the pale skin here.
The budget for that sounds like it would be pretty extensive. Denmark. Raven receives the pull. Commons, the leading scorer, back to Icecore. can tell Denmark trying to be patient here, sensing that they can just be calm and work it down the field. And now the opening in the end zone, just shy of it. A little more float in that throw would have been the game winner. Magnuson to Raven. Magnuson, open side for the win. Andreas Isgård with the clincher, and Denmark gets its second win, 12-9 over Japan. This Japanese team falls to 0-5, their second straight loss by 3. And Denmark with Team USA coming up next.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting one. The Japanese plans foiled by a stellar performance from the Danish outfit, and looks like they're back on form, back on their bicycle, shooting deep to the end zone and getting goals.
They are 2-4 now with 4 games to go. Certainly 5-5 is within reach. Who knows? Maybe they'll catch the unsuspecting Americans with the game of their lives. But 12-9 the final in this one on the show pitch. Mexico and Guam coming up in little over an hour and a half. And then USA Canada in the women's division. So for Liam Grant, Evan Lepler saying so long for now from France. We'll be back with you at 13:40 here local time, which is about 90 minutes from now. Denmark takes down Japan 12-9 despite the incredible athleticism from Toyomo Miyachi. Remember that name, number 1 for Japan. Miyachi was very, very good, but Denmark too good overall. The Danes take it 12-9. We'll talk to you in a bit here from the beaches in Royan.